Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone, and welcome to your number one source for Native American television news, Native News Today. I'm your host, Jason Salzman, and here you can see, don't adjust your television sets, it's not Gerald Wofford. Today's guest host with me is none other than the Muskogee Nation News' Gary Five. Now, you may know him from the Muskogee Nation News. You might also know him from a little program called Inside Alaska. You might also know he came over the airwaves as the host of National Native News on the radio. You might also know that, I don't know, Gary, what is all the stuff that we're talking about here today?
Oh,
a long and illustrious career.
Well, they say a career is just a job that's lasted too long, but spent 30 years as a reporter, general assignment, but mostly specializing in Native American affairs, nationally and now locally.
Well, it would only make sense that you would add the guest host spot on Native News Today as in your long list of repertoire there, right?
Yeah, it feels comfortable. It's a gig I've done a few other times, reading newscasts for a couple of smaller programs in Alaska.
Absolutely. Well, we got a lot of great things on the program today. As you've seen, we've been out and about in Creek Country this week and getting a lot of great stories. We'll have some info on a groundbreaking that we had this past week. We'll also take a look back at some of your pieces from Inside Alaska. I know we always love to look at those too. And also the Reintegration Program, an award-winning program here at the Muskogee Creek Nation, recognized by a university, Harvard University nationwide, with an award a few years ago. And they just continue to build and grow, and they got a big grant down there for them and their program, and they'll tell us a little bit more about that. So excited about the program, and you got to be excited too, your first one.
Yeah, it feels kind of good, and a bit familiar, so I'm happy to help out and do what I can.
Great. This is our first break. We'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
Since the dawn of the Muskogee Creek Nation, the traditional rhythmic sound of the turtle shells has been the heart of the ceremonial stomp dance. A living legacy passed to each new generation. This tradition, this legacy, this heart, this is the Muskogee Creek Nation of Oklahoma.
And welcome back to the program. Right off the bat, we're going to start with a piece from our reintegration program. And Gary, I know over the last couple of years writing with the paper, you've done some pieces on the reintegration program. Great job that Tony Fish and them do down there at that program. And really, it's always great to highlight them on the show. Right.
They do such great work in bringing these people back to a contemporary society after incarceration and give them a real boost in making that happen.
And it's one of the things that it's not just recognized here from us at the Muskogee Creek Nation. As I said earlier, recognized nationwide, that work that they do and the effort that they put in. We decided to go down this week because they have a very interesting opportunity now at the reintegration program. They have a grant in hand, and I spoke with Amber Nelson, the project coordinator of this grant, and really they're staked with finding areas of need as far as with their reintegration clients, whether it be transitional living, things of that sort. So we talked with them a little bit about the grant.
We are very excited to be working with the CTAS Area 4 grant. It's just a great opportunity for us as a tribe to create something that we can have within our own tribe and offer to our citizens and not have to outsource funds. It's a planning grant. It's 1 year, and it's going to help us determine a need for a correctional or correctional alternative facility for those subject to tribal jurisdiction. We have an advisory board made up of key stakeholders throughout the tribe and administration, also citizens, members of National Council, part of the tribal court, and just various programs that have a vested interest in the justice system. We talk about the grant, and they kind of oversee it. They advise us on what we need to do, and they just offer input and also collect information from their departments and provide that information for the data collection process of it. Basically what we'll be doing is doing a community-wide assessment, and we'll be determining where those needs exist and where problems exist, and try to focus on those problems and focus on ways to enhance those programs, and possibly potentially build a facility in the future. After assessing some of the data that we have received and collected from key stakeholders throughout the tribe and administration, there seems to be a need for all of those things, but our main focus right now is probably more focused on the transitional living facility. And we've thought about how that can benefit the reintegration program and eliminate some of the outsourcing funds that we're spending. Here at Reintegration, our transitional living now is taking the offenders and housing them in contracted hotels or motels that will take them. And you know, that can be a burden on our budget, and we're constantly looking for ways to eliminate that or lessen that burden. And with this transitional facility, it could really benefit our program by housing our own offenders and doing for our own. We're just really looking forward to getting out in the community and just getting input from all of the communities and seeing what the people think that we need and what is deemed most necessary to providing a safer environment for them and healthier families.
And a thank you once again to the reintegration program, always doing a great job down there. Our next story takes us right here in our backyard to Mulgy over at the industrial park. You know, we've had that and the creek seal up on that, and everybody always asks us, what are they going to do there? What are they going to do there? Well, now we've got the groundbreaking, and we see that it's going to be a nice recycling center. It's something that Environmental Services at the Muskogee Creek Nation, maybe not everybody out there knows, but they have a heavy hand in the area, is the recycling effort going green. It's a big boon for them.
They'll be able to serve our people with this additional spot. I know there's one now. Omogi just opened up.
Right.
But our people will be able to go to this place and get rid of those recyclable materials. Mm-hmm. It's not a dump. It's not a landfill, mm-hmm. but it can help the environment by recycling these materials.
And it's a great thing because the environmental office does so many things that, and it's nice to be able to show them and have a story on the show and all the great things they do.
Well, first of all, we're excited about this groundbreaking. I think it kind of follows our traditions and culture as Indian people, where we've always been known to be environmentalists, and this is as part of being environmentalists and making use of the land and the materials and things that it provides to its best service to people in general. So I'm really proud today that we're taking this major step in terms of not only environmental, but recycling is something that we certainly should always push.
Thank you, Chief. I agree with what Chief had said, and also it's just a part of the process of expansion and with this new administration, and hopefully we can create a couple more jobs over here while we're growing on our complex and throughout our property, getting the full use of lands that we've purchased and making developing them and making good use of it.
I just want to thank all the departments and all the people that helped with this project. It's been a long time coming. This wouldn't have happened without all the help from Solomon and his group, and Julie and the grant people, and especially the Department of Energy. And I'd like to thank the Chief's Office for their support. But it's definitely been a long project, and I can't wait for it to be built. And it's just one step in a long line of steps that we're taking to help protect the environment.
Thank you. On behalf of Redstone Construction Services, we'd like to thank the Creek Nation for having us to give this opportunity to build this project. And we look forward to a successful and a good project. Thank you.
Shelby Navarro with One Architecture. It's an honor to be a part of the project as a member of the Creek Nation, as a Creek Nation citizen. It's also great to work on a recycling building, and we've incorporated a lot of environmental and sustainable elements in the building itself, rather than just the just the recycling. It's great to hear Chief be supportive of the recycling effort, and I'm really excited about this building. It's going to be a great looking building and a great addition to the nation.
Right now we're fully recycling at the housing building right now, the building which we're located in, and we do some departments at the tribal complex. We do some downtown at the McCullough building. We do some at the college, but this will enable us to branch out to all areas of the Creek Nation now to have some collection sites. Our long-term goal is to get out to the communities, like when they have their community meetings once a month, and have them bring their recyclables there, and we'll start collecting them from recyclables. We'd love to recycle from the Head Starts. We'd love to recycle from everywhere, because we think that's just it's going to save on the landfills, and it's just the right thing to do, to go green and recycle what we can.
All right, and great to be out there at the industrial park, and a lot of things going on. Big news from the Environmental Services Office, and congrats to all those guys on making it happen. We want to talk with William Lowe again, Director of Tourism and Recreation here at Muskogee Creek Nation, keeping us updated weekly, on a weekly basis, about the Muskogee Creek Nation Festival coming up. Everybody excited about the homecoming, and it's always such a big event. All kinds of things going on, free and open to the public. Everybody come on out. Here's Will Lowe. Once again, out on the grounds of the Claude Cox Omniplex, as I'm once again with William Lowe, Tourism and Recreation. Will, we just keep steaming towards this festival, and want to make sure that everybody out there is going to come out and have an absolutely great time, free of charge, at the Muskogee Creek Nation in the middle of June. So want to get some information out there, just a little bit, keep it refreshed in everybody's brains out there. We're going to have the big parade coming up. We're going to have a lot of entertainment acts, some entertainment artists actually be emceeing for us out here. So everybody out there needs to know the wins and wheres. We just got to keep them updated.
Oh, certainly. The main thing we want to get participation in is our parade coming up at 10 o'clock on Saturday, June 23rd, downtown Okmulgee. If you can, just give us a call if you're interested in being in our parade at 918-732-7992. We're also looking for volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers for the festival. Each community out there, from Eufaula to even Okmulgee, give us a call, and we're always in the office, and we'll be happy to talk to you.
Lots of communities out there too, chances to get involved and have a community presence out at the festival. Like, let everybody out there know that comes to the Muskogee Creek Nation, we do have these chartered communities. They are fully functioning bodies of the tribe that have their own thing going in each one of these communities. So it's really neat to be able to spread some of the word about what they got going on, and it'd be fun to maybe put a float in the parade too.
Oh, definitely. And that's the thing for us, is our parade gives our communities that chance for general awareness of, not only letting their community know, but the whole tribe itself, of what kind of programs they offer, and what better way to do it than a float in the parade.
That's exactly right. And what better way to come out here also and have a great time with friends and family than just to our left here, these state-of-the-art softball fields. We got one of the best complexes in the state, I believe, and some of the best competition here comes to play every year, Will, and I know that you and I, big softball players. You going to be playing softball this year?
Oh, I'll give it a shot. I still have a couple of more years in me, I believe.
Dreamcatcher Sports this
That's
year?
right,
All
Dreamcatcher.
Right. They always bring down a big team. I've never gotten the call yet. I'm still in AAA, just waiting. No, but good friends with Kenyatta Ride. It's always great to see Kenyatta and Dreamcatcher Sports out at our Native American events, such as the festival. So it'll be great to have him and the team down, and it'd be great to see you out there hitting some bombs.
I'll try, yeah.
Maybe hopefully not tearing an Achilles or anything like that.
Yeah, let's hope not, definitely. But, again, softball too. Last year we had about 120 teams, both weekends combined, slow pitch and fast pitch. Again, give us a call. There's still time to enter. We'd love to have you in there. The more the merrier. It's a very top-notch tournament, and, the best of the best win it. So come out and join us.
Exactly right. There will be the first week will be the slow pitch softball tournament, like we talked about. Then afterwards, during the, I guess you could say the nitty-gritty of the festival, when it really gets started up the 21st, will be when this fast pitch softball tournament starts. So 21st through the 24th, we'll be having fast pitch softball, stomp dance exhibition, all kinds of great artists. Eli Young Band, one of the hottest bands going right now, going to be out here on the stage Friday, June 22nd. And I know a lot of you people out there are excited too about Gladys Knight and the Temptations. Yeah. I know Gladys Knight. I don't think Gladys Knight's ever actually played in this area. So for those folks in this area that I know grew up loving her music, it's a great event that they could come out to. And when else can you see Gladys Knight, Eli Young Band, Temptations, all free one weekend? You just can't. It's right here in Okmulgee, the only place to do it. is at the Creek Festival. William Lowe, we'll see you next week, and we'll be talking a little bit more about some of the interesting stuff we're going to be having out here. How about the Old Timers game? What if we talk about that a little
Definitely,
bit?
that'll work for us. I think Principal Chief George Tiger will be out here to promote it, and he's really been pushing hard for us to do it this year. So we'll see what he has in his repertoire for pitches.
You got it, man. I think we can pull out some old footage of him back in the day shooting from the All-Indian State Tournament in Oklahoma City. We might have to get Chief's permission on that, but we will show up.
All right.
And also, as a special treat, not only the Principal Chief, Second Chief Roger Barnett, who will be an Old Timers game team captain, he'll be joining us too.
Outstanding.
It's going to be great. Okay, and as I told you earlier in the opener, Mr. Gary Fife here doing a lot of work on Inside Alaska program there. I believe in the Anchorage area, is that right? I would be correct saying that. The Anchorage, Alaska area. Gary Fife doing a lot of correspondent work with them as he does with Native News Today. And some of the stories up there, obviously, we hear so much about our tribes here in Oklahoma, in America, mainland really, but up in Alaska, so many different tribes up there. Lots of great stories that come out of there. This first one we're going to see from you back there, your work there in Alaska, is with some medical translators involved with some folks in native language speaking. We always want to show that here on this show. So.
Well, for many of those villages, the native language is the language of first usage. And so the elders in particular have a tough time when they come to a modern hospital, and they can't understand medical terminology in English like most of us.
Yes.
But they have to have it in their own language so they can even get the concept of what's happening. Luckily, the corporations there fund a group of people who do exactly that. Take it from that mysterious medical jargon and turn it into their own native languages.
And that's what we're going to see, and it'll be followed up by the Simp Shin dancers.
Right.
That's another, maybe a nice little change of pace for folks around here that have never seen anything like that.
I think they'll enjoy it. Lots of color, movement, and sound.
Great. Lots of color, movement, and sound. We always want to have that. So everybody out there, enjoy these pieces from Gary Fife from his days at Inside Alaska.
She has a hard time. It was hard because she didn't know how to come across.
Here at the Alaska Native Medical Center, every effort has been made to make sure that the patients here get the best of medical care to meet their medical needs. Sometimes understanding the terminology can be quite a task for Native people, particularly if they have spoken Inupiaq or Yupik all of their lives. But here at the medical center, they've got a program in place that makes translations of those terms a lot easier.
First, her bed at the Alaska Native Medical Center is far from the Point Lay home of 81-year-old Kate Peterson, so she sometimes feels lonely and isolated.
How's your strength today?
So ang nasi kanukid pa uvlupak. Nagkupayak dok.
And second, it's more difficult because she uses the Inupiaq language as her primary means of communication.
When she's sitting down, she's doing fine. She's eating, but she's monitoring how much she's eating.
But the connection is made thanks to the help of Madeline Niebers, just one of the translators working at the Native Medical Center. She's an employee of the Arctic Slope Native Association, hired to help natives from their area feel comfortable while they're in the big city of Anchorage for medical treatment. It's Niebers' job to make that connection between patient and care provider, taking Peterson's description of her symptoms in the Inupiaq language and passing on the information in English to nurse Diane Garris. Having another native person who can speak her language makes a difference for this native elder. Born in 1918, Peterson grew up in Prudhoe Bay during a time when there were no schools nor teachers for native children. Her native language was all she spoke. These days, the Inupiaq speaker finds an interpreter at the hospital is a comfort.
It's good to have somebody that can speak my language and that can understand what the person is, what she's saying.
But making these patient-to-provider links can be both a blessing and burden for Niebers. Of course, she enjoys helping, but it wasn't always easy nor medically specific.
When I first started working as an interpreter, the doctors were using the big words, and I said, can we turn it into plain old English? Or if I had a rough time interpreting what the word was, I said, what general area are you talking about, and then I'll work from there.
But when she has to deliver some bad news to a patient or a family, she shares their pain.
I feel the emotions and the feelings. I mean, I feel for the family members, because I went through with my son having cancer. I dealt with having to go through the process with my son, and I feel their feelings. I feel their pain, their hurt. I feel all that.
Another of the native translators, Nina Zayan, is hired by the Manilik Corporation to aid natives from their region. Differences in regions produce differences in dialects, and these interpreters will sometimes check with each other.
Sometimes I'll ask Madeline, what does that mean? You know, because like my cousin, when she went up to Point Barrow, a woman asked her, "Kangakai rotin." In their language, it means, when did you come? And then in our language, when was the last time you cried?
Making a difference is a part of the job that Zayan finds the most pleasing, but she admits sometimes the translators themselves need someone they can talk to.
Well, I feel good about it. You know, sometimes I'll talk with Madeline, and sometimes I go to her for counseling. You know, and she comes to me sometimes, and we talk and share our concerns and our burdens for our people.
The services of native language interpreters may be on the decline in the coming years. For now, they get their calls for their linguistic assistance on the average about once a day. That will change as the elders disappear and those who follow use the language of the dominant society. Madeline Niebers.
A lot of our young kids don't speak the language. They're learning it. They're learning to read and write it, but they're mostly speaking in English.
One thing that Elder Kate Peterson was glad to have translated was when her first TV interview ordeal was done.
Tada! I said, the end. No.
Me too. In Anchorage, Gary Fife, Inside Alaska. Their traditions come from this state, but the group doesn't.
We're happy to be here to share our culture with you.
They're the Seattle-based Alaska Native dance group, Tsimshian Hayuk. The group is comprised of dancers whose ancestral home was in Alaska or nearby British Columbia, but who make their current homes in Seattle.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Our people, the Tsimshian people, have four crests, or four main crests, or clans as we call them in these days. The eagle, the raven, the wolf, and the killer whale.
During the week-long engagement at the Alaska Native Heritage Center this summer, they enraptured audiences. One of their trademarks is the energy put into every dance segment. For instance, their song for a gathering. Dance group leader David Boxley credits their high-energy performance to their love of dance and sharing their heritage.
You can call us professional performers, but we're really not. We're just celebrating our culture, so we enjoy what we're doing, you know, and this group of people, particularly the group that I have on this trip, are really solid and really love their culture, and they really like to dance, and they really like to perform, and really like to show what we do to the masses, or, you know, to the public.
The dancers captured the audience with their broad, swirling movements and flashing colors. Imaginative masks brought the spirits of the potlatch to the Heritage Center audience. Although the demands of putting on 28 performances during their engagement was somewhat tiring, Boxley says their Alaska homecoming gave them new energy.
Dancing in front of a gathering of many different Native peoples in Alaska, it just builds our spirit and lifts our spirit, you know, really high. And yeah, coming to Alaska, we identify with it.
Troop member Teresa Ryan called their exciting dance a sharing of their true inner tribal emotions.
It's the feeling that we have inside. It comes from our heart, from our soul. It's a part of us. It's very much a part of our lifestyle, and we want to share that. And it's an expression of that. It's a very good feeling.
The Tsimshian Hayuk dancers want their audiences to leave feeling both educated and uplifted when they go, and they seem to do just that. In Anchorage, Gary Fife, Inside Alaska.
All right, that's going to wrap us up for this week's program. It's certainly been a treat having Gary Fife in studio with us as a guest host today. And, you know, Gary, one of the things that as we leave, last stories there, looking at some of the things that you've done over your time at Inside Alaska, just looked like such a blast to cover those stories.
It was a reporter's dream come true. The long format, we could go up to 7 minutes if we wanted to. Yeah. And sure beats the 90-second thing. But also we got to pick a lot of our own material. And I like to find stuff that was a little unusual or something that people hadn't thought about, or educational. So we could share the inner side of our cultures. Yes. And it was just a marvelous time being paid to travel to all of these exotic spots in Alaska where most people don't get to go.
Yeah, and nobody out there, we haven't had the, luxury of showing the story yet where you wear the Spies Like Us coat. Yeah, Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase up there all bundled up. But no, and we haven't unleashed Clam Gulch on anybody yet either. Okay. So we've got some artillery loaded up.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Great. Well, we thoroughly enjoyed having you on the show, and always great having you along with us when we do correspondent at work and interviews, and certainly people have seen you before on there. So we've had a lot of stories this week too, dealing with. We had a good range, not just hard-hitting stuff like we finished with, but some other things, informational pieces and news info out there that the Muskogee Creek Nation has got going on. So, what do you think of this first week here?
Oh, it was marvelous. I hope I get to come back and do some more. It feels comfortable again. Yeah. I enjoy working with some very good colleagues and very talented people.
Well, thank you, sir. I will humbly accept that. And with your blessing, we will take off. Everybody out there, take care, God bless, and have a great week.